I'm Pamela Blotner, and I am an artist in Berkeley, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Andrée Thompson today. And I'm going to ask her 3 questions, and then she's going to ask me the same ones. So, Andrée, tell me about your journey to become an artist.
Okay. Let's see. I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. And as a child in an extremely dysfunctional family, drawing was an escape for me. So I was always drawing. And when there was a lot of music in the family, so it was musical. But I think my journey to becoming an artist didn't really happen until I got into art school. What happened in childhood is that I ran away from a dysfunctional family and was at age 15 and was put into a home with my aunt, and was coming from a Jewish community, which was supportive to a certain extent, and we went to a small rural community where I was the only Jew in the school. But at this school, there was a very wonderful art teacher named Helen Bealey, who liked my work and always encouraged me to be an artist. But I'm the first person that went to college in my family, and the idea of going to art school was not acceptable. And so even though she encouraged me to go on to an art school, but I knew that I still wanted to keep doing art on some level, but maybe not be a professional artist. So I did get a scholarship to Western Reserve University, which is across the street from the Cleveland Art Institute. And while I was going to school there, I was also working at the Cleveland Art Museum. So I became a double major in art and psychology. And actually, by my junior year, I developed its first art therapy program because I was always interested in psychology and wanted to somehow bring them together. So during that whole 4 years at Western Reserve, I went to all the art school, all the art classes at the Art Institute. And in a way, that's why Pamela and I connected, because she also went to the Art Institute, and we've had good discussions in preparation for this talk. We've had good discussions about how the Cleveland Art Institute influenced us. So I guess that gives you an idea of some of the background. As for why I was always drawing, I knew that for me, it was escape. It was escape from a lot of the traumas, and that it was also a way into a private world where the act of drawing was very special. And I think that I've always kept that idea that being an artist is literally just the act of making it. And I tell that to my students now. Okay.
So, Andrée,
your first question?
Yes. No, I think I'd like to go through and ask you all 3, so we make sure we keep the time on track. So, and this one flows from the last one. What would you say your work is about?
Well, I think explaining the traumatic childhood and my interest in psychology as a way of healing, I came to understand that giving voice through art, drawing, painting, singing, any performance, is not only a way of expressing visual phenomena, but it was a way of releasing and getting in touch with the unconscious. So a lot of my work, even though I was actually physically drawing realistic things in the high school because I loved nature and would draw from nature themes, I also got interested in plants and animals, and consequently now teach about endangered species. But at the same time, I was also a part of a second generation Holocaust family. My father's family all perished. It was very much a part of our childhood drama and discussions, and that was heavy stuff for a kid, and heavy stuff to go into one's psyche. So I think a lot of my artistic themes are giving voice to the unconscious or finding what's hidden down in there. And I eventually took a trip when I was later in life to Hungary to see if I could find family that survived. And when I came back, I started to do a whole series of pieces about it started out to be about the people in the family who perished, but I got much more interested in meeting those who had survived. And to me, the miracle of survival is that they were able to survive with compassion and love still intact. And I have met some cousins, especially one cousin I became very close to, that resonated the idea that we can and do survive and can survive with love. And that's what my work, the sculptural work, all came about. By the way, in the beginning, when you asked about artistic themes, I was doing ceramics with a wonderful Japanese teacher, Toshiko Takeezu, with whom I became very close friends. And I learned how to throw eventually, and always made some functional things as gifts. And there was psychological safety in making functional things. So it was later, actually, when I came back from Hungary, that I gave myself permission to be a sculptural artist only. I still throw sometimes, but I think that the most important work is the work of the survival work that I've done, called a series of works called Resilient Survival.
Two things. Oh, no, not nearly enough. One is that sometimes you combine the art and the functional objects, and it makes it's quite lovely, the way you walk on that line. And I love pouring tea with one of your sculptural teapots. But your last question.
Oh, wait, let me just add one more thing to the themes, in that because I was interested in survival, it started out to be about the Holocaust and the family survival, and consequently my own survival from my childhood. I also incorporated humor, because I thought humor was a healthy thing to explore. I always have had humor in it. And then eventually, because of my interest in survival, I got more and more interested in the environment, because I was taking my new children to the zoo, and I got more interested in doing drawings. And so probably since the beginning of the 60s, I've been doing drawings and sculptures of endangered species. And I eventually started a very important college class. I taught ceramics and sculpture for 30 years at Laney College. And then in 2005, I founded and still teach a course called Eco Art Matters. After teaching it for 5 years, a course like that did not exist anyplace. And so it was bringing together creative minds like Václav Havel did at his table, as the first leader of the Czech Democratic Republic. Bringing artists to the political table, I brought artists to the environmental and social justice table, because artists are trained in thinking outside the box and thinking sideways, the kind of thinking we need to come up with solutions to these urgent issues. So that's what I still do.